Hey! Rise and shine, it's scrapyard time. Shh, everybody's sleeping. Trying to figure out my camera. I don't know why my face isn't centered or not. Whatever. Everybody's sleeping. That's why I still have... Oh, got one viewer. Haha. Not everybody's asleep. I set up this little gadget here, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. When I go like this, I'm wearing it. And I was just gonna do some copper and brass stuff with the birds. We're not open yet, Eric, so what's up, Jackpot Digger? Yeah, Eric asked if we're open yet, but we're not. This is one of my favorite times in the scrapyard because I get so much stuff done. Because there's no one to bother me, it's just me and the birds that live in the roof. But I'm gonna go over some copper stuff. I haven't had time to do any more videos, as usual, as you guys always hear me say whenever I come on live. But I was gonna go through some copper stuff, and going live is a whole lot easier for me than making videos. Not that I'm not gonna make videos anymore, but at least you get something, and something is better than nothing. I'll try to answer comments when I can, but I'm just putting on my gloves. So what I'm gonna do is we have all this copper and brass, you know, customers bring it in that way. When it's not clean, we gotta get it to that point. That's number one. Copper right there. Actually, there's a piece of number two in there. Because it's got paint on it. Now, I'm going to use the shear. And I'm just giving you a heads up. When I do use the shear, it's going to be kind of loud. It's not really that loud. Here, it's just really loud. On video, I don't know why it's so much louder. You know what I should have done is probably got some stuff to go cut first, but I'm trying to keep this camera still too. Let's just take this big old piece. So if we examine this big piece right here, and actually, let me get a file or a grinding wheel. Don't see one over there. Beep, beep. Not gonna lie, should have prepared a little bit better. I'll try to hold the camera still whenever I stop moving. So I was gonna make a video about this, but I always tell, especially like first time scrappers that want to make more money, some people just they just don't care about the price, and they don't want to clean anything. But you know, diehard scrappers out there, they want to make more money. So the way I always say for beginners is an acronym called Mountains of Fun Stuff. If you remember that acronym, it's MFS, Mountains of Fun Stuff. And that means, let me get my magnet out. M is for magnet. So the first thing I always do with every material, I mean, obviously this stuff I know what it is by now, hopefully, you would think. But I always take my magnet and check the material first. That's M. And then F is file or grind or whatever. I used to use a file. Now I'm lazy, so I use a grinder. But it's to file. So if we file everything, let me put on my glasses here so I don't get stuff in my eyes. So pretty much what I did was I filed all the different parts that I know on here. And this is, I'm assuming that I'm a beginner scrapper and I don't know anything about scrap. But I watched some of Bracken Recycling's videos, so now I'm an expert. So obviously we have copper here. And then if you look at the scratches, I'm gonna try to, that's red brass right there. It's got a darker red tint to it whenever you scratch it. And I'll show you the difference right here. Sorry, I don't know what happened. It cut out for a second. So, Right here, if I can get good lighting on it, you can tell that that's kind of yellow where I scratched it. And the other piece, hold on, it's a big old piece here. The other piece has a reddish tint. I know it's really hard to tell, and this is one of the really hard things for people to do in the scrap business, but red brass is worth more money almost all the time than yellow brass. Problem is, with scrapyard, so you can tell how that's yellow. Scrapyard's not going to buy it as red brass unless you already have it separated out. Like, we help people separate things out, but you know, we can only go in so far because we have lots of customers to help. But we'll definitely tell you when stuff is worth more money if you come to our scrapyard. But red brass, you have to have it separated out. If you have it all separated out, and the best thing to do, honestly, if you want the scrapyard to pay you more money, is to scratch all the pieces. Because then they can pick them up and look at them and be like, oh yeah, it's red. You know, because they're not going to sit there and give you more money if they have to sit there and scratch stuff. And Eric, I saw your comment, but I didn't have a chance to read it all. I'm sorry. I'll go back and look at this and figure it out, send you a message or something. So either way, and then right here, you know, this is just chrome plated, but it's yellow brass as well where I scratched it. So yeah, and most of the time, you know, a lot of people don't realize it. I mean, just trust me, the majority of scrapyards, they're gonna sell red brass. They're gonna separate it and sell it. But you really can't blame them. They're not scamming you or anything, but you know, there's work to be done. If you don't have it separated and don't have it scratched and everything like this, I mean, you can see around my place, like it's a lot of work. So of course they're not gonna give you a better price unless they can simply take it and put it from your bucket into their box. I mean, that would justify me wanting to pay you more money, because trust me, I don't want to do the work, but you know, I'm going to do the work because I'm not going to throw away money. Now I'm going to turn this shear on. I don't have very good lighting over here, so I'm sorry. I'm going to turn the shear on and cut this up. Oh man, I should have grabbed a bucket. I don't have any good recycling buckets right now. I wanted to save all the pieces. Maybe I'll be able to find them all once they get on the ground. Normally I don't just let them fall on the ground unless it's junk. Here we go. Now I just cut it down the middle to make it easier for me to cut. That's number one. Now we have our second piece. Sorry. Right here I'm going to cut the number 2 copper off so that those pieces can become number 1. Now this piece I'm just going to throw in the yellow brass, and the reason why is because when I cut it here, I mean, if I sat here and cut every piece like this, it would come apart. Eric, I just saw your comment, and I'll show you all in a bit when I get done cutting this up. There is something else. I mean, it's kind of expensive, but I mean, it does work. Usually I do this a lot faster, but you'd be surprised. I'm trying not to cut my fingers off because I have this camera in front of me, and it's kind of hard to see. Alright, now we got that noisy thing off. So now we can take a look at some of the stuff we cut. So, yeah, I need my fingers. So anyways, so right here, what I would probably do is, you know, and you forgot to scratch this, but you want to scratch that. You know, you just take the screw off. I'm trying to get it in focus. You want to take the screw off. It could be a stainless screw, and it won't stick to a magnet. So if it's a stainless screw, you still want to make sure you take it off, because they don't want stainless on the brass either. You know, some people, they're like, well, I stuck my magnet to everything, and nothing stuck, so, you know, why is it still dirty? You know, that's the reason why. And that's really, you know, a lot of people out there, they already know this information, and I just want to make sure, get the information to everybody, because some people are just starting scrapping, and they want to know. And I want to help them, because scrapping metal is awesome, and you only know how awesome it is if you do it and you know that feeling. So this piece was red brass. I'm going to try to get it into focus here and get the light on it. And a lot of times, not always, I'm just saying, a lot of times, like now, like I don't scratch these pieces ever when I'm separating, because I've been doing it for such a long time, and I can tell by looking on the outside of it. But sometimes there's still a lot of pieces that I have to scratch, because let's see if I can get it close and get a good, I think that looks good. It looks good on my camera. So you can see how it's kind of rough. The texture of it is kind of rough looking, and usually red brass is going to have that. Now you're going to come across some red brass that's not real rough like that, but for the most part this helps you separate a lot in the future, because you just already know it's red. But like I said, you guys are turning it into a scrapyard. I'm turning in, you know, to the mill and selling to the mill, or whoever's paying the most money, to tell you the truth. I sold red brass to a guy off the street one time because he paid more than anybody, and sold him like $5,000 worth, and he paid me for it right then and there. I loaded it up and gave him the box because he was paying more than anybody. Now, what he was doing with it, none of my business. And so we have our number 1 copper that we cut off, and there was another piece. I need to cut this again to get that copper off. Yes, I have dealt with, someone asked if I dealt with expired paintball tanks. Best bet is to cut them in half. Then the scrapyard will pay you the most money for them. We usually pay pretty cheap for them because aluminum mills don't want them, because they'll any kind of cylinder or whatever is going to blow up in the smelter. It's going to cause, pretty much creates a bomb. So the best thing to do is cut them in half. It's something scrapyards really hate to see, but if you cut them in half, they're great, you know, and that's the way you can get the best money for them. Depending on the thickness of them, you know, some yards usually just throw them in their 61 solids. It depends on the thickness of them. You know, number 1 copper, number 2 copper. It's number 2 because it has solder joints on it. You know, right there. Being live is kind of better than making videos anyways, because then people know that you're real. You can't really hide anything. If I make a mistake, I gotta own up to it. I can't just edit it out. So what I was going to show you, let me see if one of my guys can grab it. I don't think anyone over here right now. I don't have my radio. Let's see, this is kind of the same. I want to find something in here that's a little different. Here we go. This looks fun. This looks like something that would like be in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. It's crazy looking. Put all the chocolate in there and go like this. Yum. Probably wouldn't taste good. Probably be like chocolate covered with pennies. So, anyways, what we'll do is cut this up. Yeah. Money, 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 money. Oh, I love Mr. Krabs. So what we're going to do dirty part of. Ah, man. As many of you know, it's I'm sorry if I don't get to all your comments. As many of you know from other videos, I am dyslexic, so it's very hard to read comments fast, and like YouTube doesn't leave them up fast enough. I'll try to go back and read them. So anyways, right here what we have is, you have yellow brass, and you're gonna have your copper, and then you're gonna have some number 2 copper because it has soldered joints. And then right here, these are either iron or die casts. I didn't even finish going over my acronym earlier. Mountains of Fun Stuff, MFS. So it was magnet and then scratch or file. I'm sorry, file. So magnet, file, and the last one, the S, stands for separate, and that means separate. So if you don't know what the material is, what it's worth, or whatever, separate as much as you can based off of what things look like. And that's just for, beginners, and then once you start learning, you'll learn what's worth it, what's not worth it, what's okay to leave on and stuff like that. But your best bet is the more you have it separated down into separate containers, the more likely you're not going to get screwed over by a scrapyard, because they're going to see that you separate it, and they're going to assume that you know what it is because you have it separated in a bucket. So that's the best advice I can give for beginners is when you find a piece like this, stick your magnet to it, take all the iron stuff out, file, you want to scratch it, see what it is, and then separate as much as you can at the beginning. But then you'll see, if you watch a lot of my videos, some things aren't worth separating. So I'll go ahead and cut this up real quick. It's actually kind of hard with this camera on, but let's see what I can do. Alright, so that wasn't that bad. Now I have pieces mixed with our stuff earlier. Like I said, normally I'd dump it in have a bin here to dump it in and then go through, but that's what you get. So here we go. You have your number 1 copper that you got out of there. And like, let me go back, because if you turn it in that way to the scrapyard, like, they're probably gonna buy it as like dirty brass, dirty copper. I mean, everybody has different names for everything and different classifications. They might just buy it as brass. It just depends on the buyer and how much of you have of it and everything like that. Someone had a whole trailer load and it was nothing but what I just cut up in my hand. I would definitely work a price for them. I'd probably come over here and cut it up on my shear and see what the recoveries were. And obviously I'm going to take some off because of the time that it's going to take to cut it and separate it. But at least he'd get better than, just turning it into some scrapyard not doing anything. And that's the type of scrapyard you want to find, is the one that'll take the time to, really analyze what you have and try to get you the best price. So anyways, let me reach over here. So this is going to have to go with, what's up, Scrap Addict? I can read hello real fast. So this is yellow brass, and yeah, it's got some copper on it, right? But it's going to go in the yellow brass. It's okay to have a little bit of copper in there. And there's some places, depending on who you sell to, if you sell to like a primary place that just makes brass items and stuff like that. Exactly, Eric. Eric said, smart, just you want a customer that comes back. That's our philosophy here at Bracken Recycling. I teach all my guys, hey, I don't want to screw over a customer one time and make a lot of money on one deal. Let's make less money off of them and have them come back 100 times or more. So This piece is red brass. I know that without even scratching it, just because I've done this for a long time. Like I said, like if you look at like the roughness of it, and the majority of these valves are going to be red brass anyways, but things change, you know, they might start making them different. So right here we have this, let's see if I can grab my magnet. Now sometimes these are iron and other times they're zinc or die cast, and this one's going to be aluminum, probably die cast. So you just take this screw out, and that screw's not magnetic anyways, so most likely it's probably a stainless screw. So you take that apart, put it in your stainless, take this apart, put it in your die cast. Some scrapyards throw their die cast in with their cast. Man, sometimes Jackpot Digger asks what the difference in red brass and yellow brass. It all depends on the commodity markets, but I mean, I've seen it as much as 20 cents, I believe 30 cents before, but on average I'd probably say it's like 10 to 25 cents a pound more. And some people are like, oh, that's not that much, but it adds up if you're doing a lot of this stuff. It really, really adds up. So, but if you were doing this at home and you want to take it apart, go ahead, go for it. I always do. I always tell everyone, my advice is at the end of the day, do whatever makes you happy. If you like to take stuff apart, then take it apart. I mean, I do videos that show you like what's worth it and what's not worth it, but really it comes down to what you like to do. If you like to sit in your garage and take this apart, well then it's entertainment, my friend. You know, and entertainment's expensive, but at least you're making money. Something like this, we do not clean. We throw this with our dirty brass, and it actually helps with other items, other dirty brass that we have. It helps a lot because it brings up the recovery of our box. You know, because I guarantee that, you know, our dirty brass will run 70% or better. Well, this is going to be way better than 70%, so it's going to bring up the recovery. But it allows me to throw other stuff in there that we don't want to clean because it's too hard to clean, and maybe it's only, you know, 50 or 60% brass. But I've done lots of studies on this. I've taken like 200 of them, and good morning. I've taken like 200 of them and done recoveries, and for me it just doesn't really pay to clean them. But like I said, it's all up to you. I don't remember what else. I don't know where all of my other parts went for that. Well, here's another part. But okay, moving on. I'm gonna run as long as I can. Boop, boop, boop. But I will have to start getting stuff ready here pretty soon. Oh, there was the. Where did they go? Maybe they cut them up. No. This is cool, and this is something you don't see every day. Let me go back to my grinder. This is why. No, Jackpot Digger, I don't break open the faucets. Saw someone else comment about that before. Hold on. Does anybody remember where I put my grinder? Oh, there it is. So this is why it's always important to scratch stuff, because this is kind of heavy. So like if I just saw this laying out there, I might look at it, pick it up and be like, oh, it's kind of heavy, you know, magnet doesn't stick to it. Maybe it's stainless. Well, if you scratch it, see what I mean by going live? I have to own up to my mistakes. So this one is a stainless one. You can tell by the sparks. Hold on. My battery's dying, but hopefully you saw those sparks. So we had some more pieces that came in with that one. Let's see if I can find them. I bet you they probably already cut them up. Yeah, I'm sure they're in the number 2. Anyways, there were a bunch more brackets like that that came in, and they were silver coated, but they were copper. That's what I was hoping to show you, but that one is stainless, so bummer. Ooh, looky here. So I had a box of, maybe this is a new bucket, but I doubt it. So this is stuff that's been cut up through our shear. Again, you can see kind of the roughness on there. That's going to be red brass right here, and it's a darker brown color on the outside. But again, scratch it. That's the best way to find out. And yeah, it's got some copper on the end. If you want to cut that off, great. But it's okay if you have some copper in your brass for most folks. And same thing with this piece. Oh, there's Chewy and Louie. I'm gonna go ask him to grab that tool. Chewy!
Buenos dias!
Buenos dias. That's good morning in Espanol.
Buenos dias.
Hey, can you go get the, in my office, I have those 600 MCM cutters. The ones I was showing you yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Go grab those real quick. So I think it was Eric. I think there was saying, man, they need one of those. That's a smaller version, maybe off an air compressor or something. They might sell one. I'm not sure, but I did buy these cutters. Okay, good. It was you, Eric. So I did buy these cutters, and I'm kind of impressed, to tell you the truth. I think they were like, I'd be lying to you if I told you. I think they were like 200 something bucks, maybe 300 bucks. I don't know. It's in Milwaukee. But actually, it worked out pretty good. Let me see if I can find a piece while he's in there getting it. I'm going to show you it here in a second. But it worked out pretty good, even for copper tubing. Now, they don't advertise copper tubing, but I can't see, it's the same type of blades that are on my other cutter. And I can't really see why it would hurt anything. Plus, you can change the blades out. You can buy new blades. So here it is. It's called a Milwaukee 600 MCM cable cutter. If you look it up, you can buy it on Amazon. But anyway, so I was gonna do a review on this. Let me see if I can get better light. There we go. So push the safety button and you cut it like that. And then you push this trigger and it opens it back up. So if you take a piece of copper like this comes from an AC unit, we want to get this copper off right here, and then you're gonna have your yellow brass and then some more copper. So if we take this gun here, and remember I got a camera in front of me, so it's kind of hard to see. So you cut that, and so then we push the little trigger to lift the blades up again. So you got all these wires right here. Let's see if it'll cut it. There we go. So I mean, man, if I was out there, I mean, I have one, and I have a yeah. Someone said that's an expensive cigar cutter. So anyways, I mean, I own 2 scrapyards, and I have one. Because it comes in useful, like when you're dragging like cable over to the shear to cut then strip. It comes in useful maybe to cut 1 or 2 pieces. Also, like when we get big transformers and stuff, it's nice to cut the copper out of it. Ooh, yeah. So anyways, then we have our copper. And technically, this doesn't have any solder on it. As long as you don't have any AC oil on it or anything, your yard might accept it in the number 1, especially if you just blend it in with better looking stuff. And then your yellow brass. And sometimes these will have a little thing on there where they hold on to the little strap where they hold on to the unit, and that's iron. You have to take it off, but check it with a magnet because sometimes it's brass. So let's see what this thing will cut. How about that? Here's a little bit bigger copper tubing. See if it cuts it. Sweet. Now, you know, since I have an alligator shear over there, I'm not going to sit there and use this thing all day. It's not what I intended for, but heck, man, if I was a scrapper out there, I think I'd invest in one. Because now you have #1 copper. You just got to be careful in what you cut. Don't cut the brass. Man, I don't know if I have any of that. Yep. Almost forgot how to use it. I'm not gonna cut the rest of this. Let's go bigger though. Here's a pipe that's a little bit bigger. And let me tell you, do not cut steel with these cutters. Any copper cutters. Don't cut steel with them. It'll ruin it. It'll ruin it the first time you do it. Cool. Didn't seem like it gave you that much trouble. But see, you can get rid of all these solder pieces and then turn the middle piece into #1. Sweet. So, let's see. I have something bigger. That's too big. I had a bunch of copper pipe around here somewhere that was bigger. Well, even these here. You know, it'll eat through these like butter to get the brass off. And honestly, it's probably better if you use the flat end of it. So we can get it turned around. Cut like this and butt it up right up next to it so you don't lose as much copper. Pretty nice, my friends. Trying to look for more. You know, I'm just gonna go over to this bin. Where was my #1 copper? Look on Amazon or eBay. Look up Milwaukee cutters. Go under Milwaukee cutters. Go under Milwaukee 600 MCM cutters. I don't know the number or model or anything like that, but I'll find out. Let's see. I have some thicker pipe in here. Yeah, I'd say it's about 1.5 inches probably. I don't think it's gonna cut this, but we're gonna try it. Well, it cut it sort of. I don't know. I think that's up to you and how long you want it to last, I guess. But it couldn't be done because I just did it. But it's pretty cool. Ugh. Yeah, so I sold a whole load of brass, which is you know, roughly we usually try to get a net weight of at least 43,000 pounds in the back of a truck. I'm getting this ready to ship to my other yard because our other yard is a lot bigger, and we shipped it out of there. So some materials I actually just shipped to our other yard, and anyways, that's what we're trying to clean up all this area over here so we can get the brass and copper cut up and get the copper out of here so we can ship it over to our other yard so we can get that load shipped out. And hopefully later, does anybody want me to walk outside? If you do, I'll go. Put this up. If my phone dies, that's the end. $750. Holy smokes. Y'all go on Amazon. They man, if I can find out how to send you messages, Jackpot Digger and Scrap Addict, I'll try to send you the link for it. Because I swear, man, I only paid like $200 or $300. I'm almost positive for mine. Dude, you know what? So this is my new machine. I'm gonna do a review on it. Dude, Scrap Addict and Jackpot Digger, send me oh man, I can't do all that math in my head right now. If you know how to send me a message, send me your address, dude. I'll send y'all one. You guys have been subscribers of mine for a long time. Just send me a message with your address. I'll buy you one, dude. Because I like watching your videos anyways. Just put it in one of your videos. There you go. It's a fair trade-off. But anyways, that's my new machine. I think it's awesome. Yeah, Jackpot, just do it. Send me your address. I'll send you one. Yeah, go for it. Or you can send your address to info@brackenrecycling.com. So, that's my new machine, and it's freaking awesome. I was really worried about paying this much money for it because I never had a sit-in boggin before. I'm used to, you know, Caterpillars because we're here in Texas. But I'm giving everything away because I want to make a video on this. But this machine, I was told that you could do almost everything from the ground. And they weren't lying. Yeah, Scrap Addict, send it. I promise I'll send you one. So this machine is freaking sweet, man, and I'm gonna do like a review on it, but I'll just give you guys a little preview. Like, you could do everything on this engine almost from the ground. It's crazy. You get your alternator, your water pump, your fuel pump, your starter, your engine. I mean, everything is right here, and it's freaking brilliant. I hate climbing up on machines. I mean, look at that machine right there. That's like climbing a I don't know, a staircase every day. Whatever, bad analogy, whatever. But I hate climbing up it. This is awesome. I can do everything from right here, and it's nicer than my truck inside the cab. Oh man. Well, I'll make a video on it, but I just got a low battery warning on my phone, so I'm gonna have to cut it a little short, but hopefully I'll be able to make some real videos here pretty soon and get them out to you. But I just gave you a live video just so nobody be like, this guy never makes videos anymore. So anyways, everyone have a great day. Hope you learned something, and appreciate you watching. Go scrap it up. Bye bye. Send me your address, Scrap Addict and Jackpot Digger. Later.